Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 238.
On Now You Know.
We are brought to you, as always, by our amazing Patreon patrons. Help support creating independent news every week by heading over to patreon.com/nowyouknow. And there you'll find some awesome perks. This episode is sponsored by Privacy.
Privacy is a service that lets you do your shopping online using virtual cards instead of having to use your real ones, protecting your identity and bank information on the internet.
Right now, new customers will get $5 to spend on your first purchase.
Go to privacy.com/nowyouknow to sign up.
Now, do I really need this?
Well, let me give you two examples of why I like Privacy. Have you ever gone to buy something from a website that looks a little sketchy? Like I was buying some plumbing supplies a few weeks ago, and the site looked like it hadn't been updated since like 1998. And I was like, who am I giving my account info to?
I see. And with Privacy, you're not giving out your bank info. You're using a virtual number that masks your bank information.
Exactly. And my second example is when I sign up for a subscription service. The other day, I went to cancel a subscription that I'm not using anymore, and I had to go through this elaborate customer service hassle to cancel. To speak to a customer service representative, press 3 now.
I remember you were on the phone for like an hour.
Yeah. So with Privacy, you simply pause your Privacy card, and they'll block the charges for you.
Head over to privacy.com/nowyouknow and sign up for an account. New customers will automatically get $5 to spend on your first purchase.
Go to privacy.com/nowyouknow and sign up now. And we're sponsored by BigBattery.com with the best battery prices in the USA, guaranteed. If you've got something you need to power, from homes to cars, RVs to boats, and much more, BigBattery.com has you covered, offering the newest battery tech. Use the code NowYouKnow to save 5% off your purchase today at BigBattery.com.
So there have been leaks. Model S leaks. We've seen the inside of the Model S.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It's like a new UI or something.
Yeah, so first of all, if you're used to Model S's, this is going to be quite a shock because the screen is now horizontal. We knew that this was going to happen. But let's just talk about some of the changes, even in comparison to, say, like the Model 3.
Yeah.
So this is the 17-inch screen, and here's the cool part. It pivots from side to side.
It pivots.
So this means that a passenger could actually pivot the screen towards them, look up, do whatever they wanted to do on the screen without having to like lean over, getting into the driver's way or anything like that.
And because the driver has a binnacle, it really doesn't bother the driver. It's not like, wait, I need that for directions.
Right. I think that this is a really cool feature. When we first saw the Model 3 with the big iPad on it, everyone was like, does it move? Can I point it and tilt it? And you couldn't. And it was like, oh. But now you can with the Model S. The next thing is there's no stocks. We've talked about this before. The stocks, of course, like your windshield wipers and your drive and your reverse.
It's a lot to get used to.
Your Prindle.
Prindle. So remind me how you put it in drive again?
So the car can do it automatically. We're going to talk about this in a minute. But if you want to change the direction that you're driving, there's only forward and reverse.
Right. It doesn't go sideways yet.
You swipe up on the car that's closest to the driver, or you swipe down.
Now, I know this is a funny thing, but I'm just worried that like kids will like swipe the screen because kids swipe all the time. But I know kids can play with the stock too, so I don't know why I'm worried about this.
And unlike a normal car where if you like put the car in reverse while you're going down the highway at 60 miles an hour, the transmission will just jump out of the car and wish you farewell. The Tesla doesn't do that. It's like if you try and switch to reverse when you're driving at any speed above like 3-ish miles an hour, the car is just going to beep at you and say like, you tried to switch into reverse. If you want to switch into reverse, you better slow down because I'm not going to switch into reverse at whatever speed you're going now.
But don't try that.
Sure. Don't. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the UI.
User interface.
Yeah, this is the screen that we're talking about. So Model S owners are used to seeing their information in their car like this. But now they get to, watch YouTube videos on a nice big screen,
right?
Like the rest of us, like people who have Model 3s and Ys. But taking a look at the UI, it's completely different than it is for the 3 or the
So
Y.
this is version 11.
Yeah, and we're not exactly sure if this is the final version or if this is, whose car this is or whatever.
Question: the map isn't there.
Right, it's not the base layer of the interface, because normally with the Model 3 you have the map, it's always open. The map
you can
bring things on top of the map, But then when they go away, you're left with the map again. Here it looks like this is like a main menu of the car, and you get to select which things you want.
Which might be indicative of the future, because in the future, the car doesn't need to look at a map.
Or the car doesn't need to show you the map.
Right.
It'll know where the map is. It knows where it's going because it'll be driving itself.
Right.
You won't need to know, like, oh, do I need to turn left or right? You're going to be busy watching a movie.
Yeah, I feel like this is showing us what's going to be happening in the future where we don't need to be looking at maps anymore.
Right.
Can you imagine that, by the way? We've gone from humans who had maps in front of them all the time, big paper maps, to then having little 3-inch screens that we looked at all the time for Garmin.
Yeah. And then our phones.
And then our phones. Then we went to 15 and 17-inch screens, and now we're going to go to no maps at all.
Yeah. I think it's...
the human evolution of maps.
It's a very interesting evolution. So another little thing while we're still looking at the screen. See in the audio in the bottom right-hand corner, that little rectangle? I think that's the phone icon. I think that you can change the thing without having to like open up any other menus just by clicking that button. I don't know. I'm always annoyed when I want to switch from my phone back to Spotify in my car, and I have to swipe up, and then. So I think that button will take care of that.
Okay.
So then this looks like the quick menu.
Oh.
So you can access all the little things in your car nice and quickly. It's also how you put the car in neutral.
Oh, interesting. I'm sorry, but what's that little bell icon for?
I'm guessing it's phone notifications because, in this screen, the phone is connected to the car through Bluetooth.
So if you're getting a text or something?
Because, I have on occasion been driving along and been getting like texts from people, and it's like, shut up. I don't want to, shut up. I don't care. And you can't like mute your phone. You'll still get the notification through your car.
Right.
So maybe they have a phone notification option, which is neat. So then there's the controls page. I think that if you hit that blue Model S, it'll be whatever color your car is, obviously. In the bottom left-hand corner of the quick menu, it'll bring you to the broader menu. And this looks almost exactly like a Model 3 menu. In terms of the things on the left-hand side of the screen, those are all things that you'll see in like a Model 3 or Y.
What's drag strip mode?
That is definitely some kind of a launch mode. And then it has like a teach you how to launch kind of thing. A lot of people don't realize like what launch mode is, and you don't really need it that much with a Tesla, especially a Model S. But what it does is it like gets the car it's ready to launch.
Right, like preheats the battery.
Preheats the battery. It might even like pre-torque certain components so that way when you like hit the pedal, I think it maybe even takes into consideration the time it takes for your foot to fully depress the pedal. It instead will say as soon as you start to hit the pedal, it'll just punch it.
Wow.
So like all these little things to make sure.
So don't put that into launch mode in the parking lot.
No. Unless you know what you're doing.
What's Smart Shift?
Smart Shift, I think, is what Elon had been talking about, that the car is going to automatically know the direction you want to.
So you're not going to have to be hitting swipe up, swipe down to go drive in reverse. It's pretty much going to know, like, I'm in a parking space and there's nothing I can do going forward, so I'm going to go in reverse?
Supposedly.
All right.
I don't know. This is a big question. Like, this is a big risk that I feel like Tesla totally didn't need to take. Mm-hmm. Like, when I get in the car and I sit down and I'm, like, ready to go, I don't think flicking the stock to me is, like, I'm never like, press the stock. I'm just annoyed when I have to swipe up the
I'm always amazed,
screen.
though, by the number of things that once we get them, we're like, how do we live without them? So maybe this will be one of them.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, lastly, what's media on drive?
This one is interesting. It says automatically open media player on drive.
Oh, so I get into the car, I go for my drive, and I don't have to now fumble with the screen to get my Spotify or my audiobook going.
I guess. I don't know what they mean by media. Do they just mean audio, or do they also mean
video?
Because that would be, I'm sure some agency would have some questions about that. And then why, when you put the car in drive, does it open media player? I'm glad that it's an option, but like, what does this mean? Does it mean that like it's not going to start playing music until you put the car in drive, and that's what this button is? Or does it mean that it's going to like open up media as soon as you start driving?
We're going to find out soon because I'm sure there's going to be these refreshed S's on the road.
And to make sure that you hear about it, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and also hit the like button because it really helps out the YouTube algorithm, lets other people know stuff of YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. It would really help out the channel. So just takes a second and then you're done. Thank you so much.
So many of us have been waiting for this. Tesla insurance is expanding. I know, right?
What a weird bunch of people that we are to be excited about car insurance.
Tesla has filed with insurance regulators in Texas, Illinois, and Washington state to begin offering Tesla auto insurance in those states. Now, according to the filings with Texas, Tesla says it intends to use the technology in vehicles to lower costs and improve the customer experience through automated underwriting, rating, and claims, including direct data feeds with customer permission that eliminate frictional costs and inefficiencies inherent in traditional insurance processes. The digital approach to purchasing insurance by the consumer will streamline and enhance user experience throughout the policy lifecycle, beginning with the quote through online bind, renewal, and in the event of a claim.
Okay, I think...
You follow?
Sure.
So in these filings, it also appears that Tesla might start offering an autonomous vehicle protection package that would include liability coverage when the car is being driven autonomously so that the owner is not liable for damages even if the car is at fault in an accident. Now, Tom Super, VP of Insurance Intelligence at JD Power, said Tesla's insurance could represent a viable long-term threat to big auto insurance companies like Allstate, Geico, Progressive, and State Farm. This will largely be determined by how quickly their vehicles penetrate the market and begin to make up a significant portion of vehicles on the road.
Okay, so I'm a little confused as to what, Tesla insurance, what's the difference between Tesla insurance and your local insurance company?
Well, as Elon has said, Tesla insurance could someday represent 30 to 40% of Tesla's auto business revenue. Because if you think about it, auto insurance hasn't really changed in decades. If I'm a bad driver, I may pay slightly higher premiums than you, a good driver, but you're still paying higher premiums to cover me. Why? Because we don't have enough data. What Tesla is going to do is disrupt the insurance industry by gathering way more data, faster, more accurately, and more predictive so that bad drivers, let's say me, pay higher premiums and good drivers like you pay lower premiums.
Whoa. No. I don't like this.
So, wait a minute. You like to keep paying for me, the bad driver.
Well, I'm just trying to, but they're going to have to, first of all, they're going to have to gather data on how I drive.
Yep.
And that's going to determine my insurance.
Yep.
Why would I like that?
You, the good driver, are going to like that because your insurance premiums are going to go way down.
And I mean, there are some insurance companies that are kind of doing this, like with your phone. Like they track your phone to see if it's going any faster than a certain speed. So they know that if you're not speeding, you must be a good driver.
Well,
which isn't actually that
right.
true.
But this shows how much those insurance companies would like the data. It's just that they had to do this workaround with your phone.
Because your car is so stupid.
Exactly.
Okay.
If your car is a smart Tesla with cameras and all this gear on it, they're going to know way more about you at Tesla. And so they're going to know, like, this guy always seems to go through intersections or he always does this wrong. So we're going to raise his premiums.
Because there's no way that a phone would know that you just ran a red light.
Exactly.
Whereas the car would totally know if you ran a red light. And it would know how well you were at keeping in your lane. Because, I mean, I'll be honest, there are plenty of bad drivers who drive the speed limit.
Sure.
And you're going like, oh my God. Oh my exactly. God.
Right. Your phone doesn't know if you went outside the lanes or whatever, or changed lanes without putting your signal on. And this means that bad drivers will migrate to old school insurance companies to keep their premiums lower, and good drivers will migrate to Tesla insurance where the premiums will be lower.
But then what happens to all these bad drivers? Because now you're taking all the good drivers and they're saying like, well, I'm a good driver. I want to pay less for my insurance and I should pay less for my insurance. But that means that the bad drivers are paying
a lot.
Well, what they kind of already should have been paying for being bad drivers.
Exactly. See, we're basically carrying the burden of all the bad drivers. Thinking back, I don't think I've ever been in an accident. And yet, my insurance premiums don't look that much different than other people I talk to
who have been in accidents.
Right.
I mean, your insurance premiums definitely go up if you get tickets and if you get into accidents, but it's not
predictive.
Predictive and proportional.
Right.
I mean, you've essentially paid probably thousands and thousands of dollars for something that you've never benefited from.
Right. I'm subsidizing all the bad drivers.
So what this could do would be to force bad drivers
to pay their fair share
or get off the road.
Exactly.
And I mean, I think that we'd all breathe a sigh of relief if some of these bad drivers got off the road. But what about fairness? I mean, what about now they aren't able to drive.
Where in the Constitution does it say that you have the right to drive?
Well, but there were no cars when they wrote the Constitution.
All right. There's nothing about horses in the Constitution either.
That's a good point. And I mean, as we go forward and as autonomous vehicles become more prevalent.
Right. This is only for a short period of time. I'm being honest here. Auto insurance is going to probably go away in a decade or two when we aren't driving anymore.
I mean, there still will be insurance for the vehicles, but
right, but not for us.
And you won't be paying for it.
Right.
I mean, you will through
your
fare,
fee. Right.
But not. Oh, it's so complicated.
I know.
But it's really exciting that Tesla is expanding their network. I mean, the upshot of all of this is that for Tesla owners, this is great. They will be hopefully getting better insurance premiums if they're a good driver, and that could save Tesla owners a lot of money.
Now, speaking of Tesla expanding, Holmar's catalog said, guys, I'm telling you, full self-driving is the biggest thing ever. Super bullish on this. Nobody gets it, but I know what I've seen. This is a big f***ing deal. Tesla is going to be bigger than Apple. And Elon said,
I think there is a greater than 0% chance that Tesla could be the biggest company.
And then a tweet that got taken down is this one here, where Elon said probably within a few months. And what he's actually referencing is this tweet from Toon, which said, love the direction of that arrow, which is pointing up. And then Elon said probably within a few months, meaning they could be the biggest company in the world probably within a few months. Now, Elon's tweet did get taken down. We don't know if that's because maybe legal counsel said that's not a good idea, Elon, or maybe he was just having fun.
Yeah, that's a good question. I still don't. Okay, so when he said the arrow, he meant like the greater than or less than symbol. So it's good that it's greater than a 0% chance as opposed to a less than 0% chance, which is impossible.
Right. I mean,
statistically,
he's covering his butt by saying a greater than 0% chance. So he's basically saying means nothing.
Yeah.
But let's read between the lines. He's saying they could be the biggest company in a few months. Now, what's going to happen in a few months?
Giga Berlin.
Giga Berlin. It's a light switch. Think about it. There are no Model Ys on the road in Europe right now. Giga Berlin will go online, and all of a sudden, Model Ys are going to pop up everywhere. There is a huge pent-up demand. People just waiting to buy a car because they know it's going to be the Model Y. Then add to the mix that the pandemic eventually will slowly go away, and people will become drivers again. And when you're driving a Model Y, what are you?
You are a Tesla salesperson. And as soon as you can get other people in your car, especially your Model Y that you had been waiting for so long, and you're so excited and you're so happy to have, and now the price of the Model Y is lower in Europe, instead of having to pay huge tariffs to ship things across vast oceans, it's made right there in Germany. It's going to be humongous.
And the thing is, a lot of German executives don't follow Tesla as closely as we do. And so I think they still think that this big forest where, Elon's going to put a gigafactory is largely just still a forest. I don't think they're following the progress, and I don't think they realize that Elon did not play it safe. He pushed hard. He didn't wait for all those permits. And the big auto companies probably thought, well, this will take him years to get that gigafactory in because we know how slow German government is. But he didn't wait. He pushed. And now he's going to be pumping out cars this summer.
Yeah, I really think that we've all been undercounting Gigafactory Berlin. And if only there's like another Gigafactory, I feel like there's maybe
that we could compare it to. You mean?
One that like might also be coming online maybe this year. I don't know. Slipped my mind. If there was like some other one, that would also be like a big reason of why Tesla. Because again, what has been Tesla's problem this whole time? Supply.
Yes.
They haven't had enough cars on the road. And you could say, yes, that's all because of battery supply. I think at this point, it's Gigafactory supply.
Yeah.
We saw how much production Tesla could add last year with Tesla Shanghai. I think that they're going to be doing the same thing in rapid succession with 2 new Gigafactories and a new product.
And the funny thing is, Elon isn't always positive on Tesla. Sometimes he says stock price might be too high. Now he's saying, I think stock price is going to be double in a few months.
It seems like what he's implying.
Disclaimer, we're long Tesla holders.
Obviously.
All right, so Jesse, would you like a free electric school bus?
Yes.
Well, this next story is kind of why we do this show. We did an in-depth back in September of 2019 called The Magic School Bus, remember? You were in the thumb on that one.
Yes, I was Miss Frizzle on the cover of our thumbnail, which I don't think was a good thumbnail, which is probably why a lot of you didn't watch it. I'm sorry. I just loved the Magic School Bus growing up, so you're going to have to forgive me on that. But it's a really good in-depth. If you haven't seen it,
it's
go watch
all about why electric school buses are great and diesel school buses are bad. Well, one of our patrons, Austin Meyer, saw it, and he said it inspired him to do something amazing.
So he talked to like his representative, or he talked to his school board. I mean, that'd be great, right?
It would be great. He did something bigger than that. Austin, through the Ava Lane Meyer Foundation, is going to give away 4 Proterra-powered electric school buses, including chargers, to schools in South Carolina. So if you are a school in South Carolina and you'd like to win an electric school bus for your school, go to the link below and enter the contest with an essay about why you'd like an electric school bus and how many miles you'd use the school bus each day.
Okay, wait. So our patron, Austin, put up the money for 4 school buses?
Yeah, he actually put up the money for 3, and then Daimler came in and donated a 4th. So these are Thomas-built buses, and Thomas is owned by Daimler, and these will be Proterra powertrains, so fully electric. And yes, 4 electric school buses for free in South Carolina. Now, if you'd like to also piggyback on this, if you'd like to start raising some money and offer school buses in some other places, go check out his website. He'll put you up on his website so that we can get the word out. Like, let this be like a seed so that we can get more electric school buses. Because I think this essay is a perfect idea. Even the schools that don't win a bus are going to have all their kids researching why electric school buses are great, maybe watching our video and learning that you lose IQ when you're in a diesel school bus. It's bad for your health. It's more expensive. Like, there's all these downsides to diesel school buses. Once they start realizing how cool electric school buses are, they're going to want them.
And there's been a lot of talk about vehicle-to-grid electric school buses, so you'd actually be able to use this giant battery that's sitting around most of the day, not driving students, to either balance the grid, or in the case of emergencies, you'd have mobile power supply, which could be powering a school, which could be a temporary shelter, which could have solar on the roof, which could charge the batteries, and then you'd oh my gosh, we have things happening here. I mean, that is really, really exciting. So I want to thank Austin for taking something which to me had been in the beginning like a little bit of a disappointment, like not a lot of people watched this episode, probably because I chose such a bad thumbnail. Again, I'm sorry. And turning it into such an exciting thing. So if you live in South Carolina, check out the link down below. Enter in that essay contest. I want to hear about you hopefully winning an electric school bus.
And it shows you that it's not about the number of views. It's about what you do when you view something. If you get inspired by what we're talking about here, there's so much that can happen. I'm just so excited about our community. And if you'd like to share this clip with someone you know, head on over to our Now You Know Clips channel, where we chop it up into a bite-sized shareable clip that you can share with friends. Do you know where your kids are right now?
I don't have any kids.
Well, apparently, for one South Carolina mother, she did not also know where her kids were.
What do you mean?
Well, last week, a Flagler County Sheriff's Department deputy pulled over a Tesla Model Y that was leaving a Wawa convenience store in Palm Coast, Florida, driving on the wrong side of the road. The Model Y proceeded to slowly back up into the deputy's car when he pulled them over, and when the deputy approached the driver's side door, there was nobody driving the car.
What? What kind? Whoa, what?
There was a 14-year-old girl in the passenger seat and a 15-year-old girl in the back seat who claimed that the Tesla was driving itself.
Hang on.
Officer,
what?
I wasn't driving the car, it's driving itself.
What? No. No. Teslas don't drive themselves
You're right.
fully yet.
You're right. It turns out the girls had driven from their home in Charleston, South Carolina, over 300 miles away. Yeah, they told their mom they were going to grandma's house, I guess, and instead they took the car and went down to Florida for spring break. Oh, and they don't have driver's licenses. And so the juveniles got a citation for driving without a license and were taken into DCF custody for the night since their parents were so far away and couldn't pick them up. There was $300 worth of damage to the Model Y, and this is why I think I'd like to do a little PSA. People, please use PIN to drive in your Tesla. That would have probably kept the girls from stealing your car.
Okay, so okay, hang on. So the girls knew how to drive a Tesla.
I guess.
I want to. It's kind of a good thing. It's also kind of a bad thing. Amazing that they were able to figure out how to drive a Tesla. It shows you a little bit something about how children view Teslas, which I can attest to because whenever I drive down the street, every kid, they just know. And they're always just like, Tesla! So kids know about Teslas. These girls leaving a Wawa in Florida is probably a supercharger. Like, they weren't getting snacks. They knew how to
300 miles, they had to know how to charge somewhere.
So they had to supercharge.
So they knew that part.
They knew that part. Didn't know about driving on the wrong side of the road.
Oh, one way, two way.
I mean, whatever. So first of all, PIN to drive, number one.
Yes.
Would have stopped that.
Oh, and PIN to drive, by the way, a 4-digit code you put in so that if someone tries to start your car, it asks for the PIN. They don't know it. They can't drive it.
Right. So even if they have your key card, even if they have your phone.
That would have stopped them.
And the second thing is you can tell where your car is on the app at all times.
Oh, funny, my car's not in the driveway.
Oh, why is my car traveling at 60 miles an hour
In Florida.
Down Route I-90?
Other question is, how come they just get off with a slap on the wrist? Like, they endangered the public because these kids were not licensed. They didn't know how to drive, obviously. And they stole a car. I mean, it was their mom's. But, like, there's so many wrong things here. Why do they get off with the slap on the wrist? Whereas I hear plenty of other people in the world who get, like, imprisoned for life.
Now, I understand that they were underage, so this is different. But I just feel like if I did that at underage, I guess you would be the one who'd kill me.
Probably.
That would be a death sentence for me.
Would you have done that?
No. But although I did not know how to drive stick when I was a kid, and the thought of driving a car that just started to lurch forward like an automatic also scared me as a kid. So I didn't want to drive until I was like 18 and a half.
Right.
So, I mean, I could see how a Tesla is so much more approachable because it's so much more approachable.
All right, so Tesla has changed the price of the Model 3 again.
The Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, the price went from $37,490 to $37,990. So it went
up $500.
Yes.
Model 3 Long Range All-Wheel Drive went from $46,490 to $46,990, so up $500. And the Model 3 Performance price stayed the same.
I remember a while ago we reported that the Model 3 price went down $1,000, and now it's back up to where it was before. So the price has been kind of unchanged since the beginning of the year.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, there's a lot of playing around with the price, which, to be honest, a lot of car dealers play around with the price. You just never hear about it because Ford doesn't come out and put it on a website. It's just the dealers know about it.
Right. So, you normally to learn the price of the car, you have to sit at the dealership for about an hour, and then you finally get invited into the back office, and the guy goes, "You want to buy a car from me?" Yep. And he's like, "Would you like a warranty on the drivetrain?"
You go to Sicilian dealerships now?
When I bought my Leaf, they were like, "Hey, what if the muffler falls off?" I was like, "The muffler there's no muffler. It's a Leaf." And they're like, "Hey, what if the transmission?" I was like, "What are you guys talking about?"
It's funny because it's true.
It's so true. Like, I know that it's some local guy, so he doesn't sound like that, but it's really okay. So what about China?
In China, the Tesla Model Y has had a price increase of about $1,200.
Okay, so the price is going up. I remember Gordon Johnson, the analyst, that guy, he was like, well, the price keeps going down. It means that they have a demand problem. So therefore, ergo, Mr. Johnson, using your own logic, Tesla does not have a demand problem. Wouldn't you say?
I'm sure he's going to find a problem with it.
Their margins. I'm sure their margins are going. Whoa. What an idiot.
Giga Shanghai could make as many as 200,000 Model Ys this year. All right, so about a month and a half ago, Edmunds did a range test on a bunch of electric cars. We didn't tell you about it because it was pretty stupid. Mm-hmm. Edmunds claimed after that test that Teslas they tested did not meet their EPA-rated range. Then Tesla engineers reached out to Edmunds and said that there is actually still range in the battery even after the car says it's at 0. There's a buffer.
So Edmunds retested and went past 0 until the cars came to a stop from running out of battery power, and this is what they found.
So it turns out the Tesla engineers were right. Teslas can go past the 0 estimated range. Edmunds concluded by saying, our answer to Tesla's dismay with our initial results is that yes, 2 of the automaker's vehicles can match the EPA's range estimates in the Edmunds EV range test, but that's only under specific circumstances and by driving each vehicle past 0 indicated miles of range.
We're talking about the EPA range estimates.
Yes,
it's not Tesla's range estimates. It's the EPA. So for Edmunds to be like, "Oh, what the heck, Tesla?" A little weird because it's the EPA. Secondly, the actual mileage, the variance, is pretty small. And I would argue, they very nicely posted about like all their testing procedures and stuff. They're going around an oval track, which I would argue is not the same as going 60 miles an hour down a straight highway like you would in the United States. So, that's just kind of weird to me. I think that Edmunds shouldn't bother with Tesla and take this up with the EPA to say like, it's unrealistic. Secondly, have they heard of WLTP?
Yeah, maybe tackle that. Yeah, exactly. Because, this just sounds very fishy to me. Edmunds really doesn't have much to do with electric cars up until recently. Mm-hmm. And now they're trying to make all these other brands look good. It's like, I wonder why that is.
Right.
All right, so turns out we were right. Tesla is going to accept payment in Bitcoin. Holmar's catalog said Tesla is genius. You can pay the $100 order fee with Bitcoin. So many people will do it just because it sounds fun, and then Tesla will hook them in and convert them to delivered orders. And then he went on to say $100 is what it cost them to start processing your order and working with you. If the fee wasn't there, Tesla shorts would just spam the order page with nonsense and request refunds. Some short seller did this once, and Elon said,
Yep. Elon said you can now buy a Tesla with Bitcoin. Tesla is only using internal and open sourced software and operates Bitcoin nodes directly. Bitcoin paid to Tesla will be retained as Bitcoin, not converted to fiat currency. I think this means that you can't take like your investment portfolio Bitcoins that you bought through some like Robinhood app, because those aren't your Bitcoins. You're just like, hey, could I have those Bitcoins? And Robinhood's like, sure, we'll hold on to these for you.
Right.
Which is fine. It's a brokerage account, but it's not the same as like,
I am going to buy stuff on the internet with Bitcoins.
So people with actual Bitcoin wallets going to be able to buy Teslas with Bitcoin.
And then Elon went on to say pay by Bitcoin capability available outside US later this year. And so, as we predicted back in January when Elon decided to buy $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, Tesla is now accepting Bitcoin as payment. I think this is super smart.
Yep.
Not only is it super smart because I think it's going to attract a lot of people who do have Bitcoin lying around in their wallets, but also that $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin they bought back in January, guess how much it's worth now?
1.6 billion?
2.5 billion. They earned $1 billion in 3 months.
By doing nothing. That was a pretty smart investment.
Yeah, $1 billion. That's a factory.
Right. And you got to keep in mind that all the people who maybe bought Bitcoin in January have also made similar returns, not the money, but the percentage.
Right.
They're like, oh, what am I going to spend my Bitcoin on? Let's see. Drugs, something else really illegal. Oh, or I could buy a Tesla. Well, that definitely won't attract undue attention.
Yeah, if you got a couple extra Bitcoin laying around, you've got yourself a new car. All right, it's time for the Tesla Semi update.
A couple weeks ago, we reported on the Patreon bonus stories that Tesla was seen filming some kind of semi-marketing footage.
In 2017, remember that PepsiCo placed an order for 100 Tesla semi-trucks. Well, last week, Pepsi announced 15 Tesla semis are expected to be added to the fleet by the end of 2021.
Now, this is kind of weird, because if we read Elon's tweet right here...
Yeah, he's responding to James Stevenson, who said, how's semis coming along, Elon? What year do you think we'll see the follow the leader driverless platooning?
Elon said, we are too cell-constrained right now, but probably okay next year. But next year is not this year, which is when Pepsi said that they were going to get their 15 trucks.
Well, so Elon's answering the question about when will they have follow the leader driverless platooning. That's not the same as when will we deliver a small number of trucks.
But cell-constrained means nothing about platooning. It means how many trucks you can build, because that's how many battery cells you can put in the trucks.
It's in Tesla's best interest to deliver a bunch of trucks to a small number of Pepsis and Walmarts so that they can start putting them on real world scenarios and testing them.
And have studies done by those companies,
so,
and then they can say like, these are going to save us a ton of money. Right. Let's put in a bigger order.
Exactly. And I think they've been working with Pepsi to probably say, look, here, we'll give you 15 of the trucks this year so you can start testing them out. Maybe we'll put in some charging, and then you'll get more next year. But yes, I don't think they have enough. We think it's 4680s, right, that they're putting in the truck. And so they probably just don't have enough to build them in quantity yet. But that's smart. You want to start building them in small batches so you can quality control and check everything before you just plow through the orders.
Okay, so 15 is an okay now. Like Tesla can deal with 15.
I hope they can get to 100 because we're in the top 100 with our order. So I would like mine this year if we could. I mean, I'm excited about platooning. This is exciting stuff.
Now, with Pepsi, do you think that they're just going to get the 15 trucks and then make a advertisement about it where they're like, we bought some Tesla Cybertrucks, look at us, Pepsi's the best?
Could be.
And then that's it, and they're just going to keep... I mean, if it makes financial sense,
they'll keep buying them.
They should keep buying them. That would make the most sense. And honestly, they should put them in their advertisements. I mean, I'm not that I'm going to buy sugar water from them, but good for them. Someone else might, who is addicted to sugar water might consider, buying a Pepsi just because they have a Tesla Semi. And it's great promotion for Tesla as well.
Yeah. All right. So Zach, different Zach, tweeted out to Elon, would be badass if Elon had a little bit of time on his hands to maybe tease us with the Cybertruck stuff.
Elon said there will be no handles.
What?
So, of course, he's talking about to open the door because you're not going to pick up the truck with a handle.
When we were at the Cybertruck unveiling, there was handles. So those are going to go away. How do you open the door?
So I don't know. We put it to our patrons.
Okay.
We said, we asked, what do you think? Most people said that I'm sure that there's going to be some kind of button or finger swipe thing like the Roadster. So they think that
right, because the Roadster you swipe up and it opens the door.
Because, I mean, technically, your Model X, which came out in 2016, has no handles. It has buttons. You press the button and the door opens.
Okay, gotcha.
So that he said no handles. He didn't say nothing about no buttons.
Oh, so you're thinking that where the handle is kind of like on a Model X, you would
it's
just
a book, and then it opens the door.
That makes a lot of sense. I could go for that.
But it would mean that the door is now motorized.
All the doors would have to be motorized.
And that also means that the doors have to now see how far to open, which Tesla has the technology for.
It doesn't always work perfectly on my Model X. I'll be honest. Sometimes you have to recalibrate the doors because something has gone off. So
but it's never just swung open and hit something.
Never.
It's always cautious.
It's always cautious. It's always overly cautious.
Right. So it'll be like, boonk, and then you can open the door and get in. It's not a big deal.
I'll be honest. I mean, there are times when if this is a truck, right, and you got gloves on and you're carrying stuff, you might just want to hit it with your elbow or whatever to open the door.
Because we do use the elbow thing a lot with the Model X.
Yeah.
It's a nice, you just get in there with the elbow when you're holding stuff.
Right.
Or it's going to be completely different from this.
Maybe it's voice control. Maybe it's like, Cybertruck, open door.
I will. I'm a Cybertruck.
It could also be kind of like the walk up to door open
Where
thing,
it senses your phone and
which Tesla has already done with the Model X as well.
But here's my question.
Yeah.
This sounds great in limited circumstances like we're talking. But what if you have a family of 4, it's raining out, they get out of the movie theater, they're all running to their Cybertruck, and it's like, why are the doors opening, Daddy?
Right. I mean, with most pickup trucks, hard to reach the handles depending on the height of the truck.
True.
Especially for children.
Right.
But there are handles. You can grab on them and you can rip them open. So it's interesting. I think that Elon was very influenced by the Matrix. It's like, do not try and open the door with the handle. That is impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
Which is?
There is no handle.
There is no handle?
Then you will see that it is not the door that opens. It is only yourself.
So this is a big elaborate meme that he's doing? Like just to...
It wouldn't be the first time. It would not be the first time by a long shot.
If you want to talk about all this cool Cybertruck stuff, we are sponsored by the Cybertruck Owners Club. There you'll find a crowdsourced reservation tracker that you can update and find your place in line. You can check out their website for Cybertruck news, discussions, and community for Cybertruck enthusiasts and future owners.
So the National Labor Relations Board, the NLRB, ruled last week that Tesla violated labor laws by firing an employee for passing out union info in the parking lot in 2017 and over one of Elon's tweets.
Yeah, so let's cut to the chase here. The NLRB doesn't have any authority to impose punitive damages, so they have ruled that the 2 employees in question should receive back pay and that Elon should remove his tweet from May 21st, 2018. Here is the tweet where Elon was responding to how about unions, and he said, nothing stopping Tesla team at our car plant from voting union, could do so tomorrow if they wanted, but why pay union dues and give up stock options for nothing? Our safety record is 2 times better than when the plant was UAW, and everybody already gets health care. And what the union didn't like was, it's basically a veiled threat saying if you go union, I may not give you guys stock options.
Which, isn't that true though?
Yeah, I mean, any company can change their policy anytime about anything. So yeah, if they went union, he could decide to do that. Basically, bottom line again, this is Tesla getting a slap on the wrist. Elon did not want unions at Tesla, and he basically won that battle. Keep in mind that even though you may not follow it or hear about it, cases like this are happening all the time against all sorts of companies. I'm pretty sure the Fudsters will use this as ammo against Tesla. Oh, see that Tesla hates the workers. No, Tesla actually offers stock options to their employees and wants to make the workers the owners. Owners have a vested interest in working hard and smart for a company. Employees only have a vested interest in their own interests.
Right.
Well, and you know the other thing is, the UAW knows that this would look bad for their other unions who are not getting stock options from companies. And so I think this is one of the reasons they want to do it. They want to level the playing field, which is actually lowering the playing field for some of their workers.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of a toothless slap on the wrist by the NLRB. Basically, Tesla has to change some of their rules. They have to offer reinstatement for these people, offer back pay. Not very costly for Tesla to have done this.
Nope.
Which, I mean, if you're pro-union, it kind of sucks because it's like Tesla basically got off scotch-free.
And I mean, I want to be clear, like unions have a very important purpose, especially when people are not being treated properly. But unions, it's not just a foregone conclusion that every company should have unions. If you're being treated well, then you don't need need a union.
A lot of companies don't have unions. That's not to say that all industries don't have unions. But yeah, it's like, what is the purpose of the union, and what would be the changes if Tesla were to go union? There's a question there.
And I mean, imagine if you've been working for Tesla for 10 years and you had stock options from the beginning. Imagine how much money you've earned by holding Tesla stock. That doesn't get talked about very often.
And I think the other thing too is it doesn't get talked about that often because it's so uncommon.
Right.
And because it's so uncommon, people are like, oh, but stocks are weird.
Right. They go up and down.
They go down.
Right.
Like, and it's like, yes, but if you look at, where Tesla has been in terms of stock price, pre-split, and then you look at what's gone on, it's like, that's a pretty good deal.
So normally we hear about NHTSA doing something against Tesla. This story is about Tesla doing something against NHTSA.
Tesla, along with several states and environmental groups, have gone to the Second Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals and sued the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration for delaying the adoption of higher penalties for automakers that don't meet stricter fuel efficiency requirements.
Now, these are standards that were adopted under the Obama administration, but then delayed by the Trump administration.
Tesla claims that the delays were unlawful in the first place and says the Trump administration's egregious action presents a situation as extraordinary as it is unjustified and inflicts immediate and irreparable injury on Tesla.
Auto manufacturers like Tesla avoid these fees because all of Tesla's cars are emission-free, but other manufacturers like GM and Ford would have to pay these fines or pay companies like Tesla for their excess credits, except GM and Ford haven't had to pay anything while these stricter standards were delayed for years.
And who does this hurt? You might be saying, well, business is business. I'm glad that GM and Ford were able to make more money. But because there are higher emissions in their vehicles and they didn't have to pay Tesla to essentially cover for that, those cars and trucks went out and they hurt people.
Right.
Emissions are deadly. They damage your brain so that you're not as smart, which, and by the way, IQ is almost directly correlated to income.
Right.
So the more emissions you breathe in, the dumber your brain is, the less IQ you have, the less money you make.
Right.
So it's kind of a direct correlation straight back to money, even if you want to look at it that way, ignoring all of the other health problems that you're going to have in your life because you were breathing in those emissions from those cars and trucks from those car companies.
All right, so this tweet from Elon, I almost kind of looked over it because I thought it was just another kind of sales mini kind of pitch. He said, the new Plaid S is our best car ever, will be the first production car to achieve 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, and it has 4 doors and seats up to 7 people. And then I realized he said 7 people, and I was like, wait, there's no third row of seats in the Model S.
But there might be. There actually was back in the day. There were jump seats that you could get for your Model S. You could sit your kids in the back, facing back out of your car. Not out of your car. They were in the car, but they were facing backwards.
There was a lot of parents who got into trouble putting their kids in those seats because other people saw them doing it and thought, oh my God, you're putting your kids in the trunk?
Right. And they thought that it was illegal.
I remember a few cases where like the cops got called.
So now for this Plaid Model S, I mean, they stopped the jump seats for quite a while.
Right. So I don't think they're going to do that again.
I think that they're probably going to do Model Y style, tiny front-facing seats sitting over like the rear axle.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Why?
For people who need 7 seats.
You don't need 7
Oh,
seats.
excuse me, Mr. I bought a Model X with 7 seats in it.
Yeah, but people who buy Model S's, they're not buying them for 7 seats.
What if they want 7 seats?
Then you get a Model X.
But why not? What?
Because there's not enough room in a Model S for 7 people. There's barely enough room in a Model X for 7 people.
But they're for kids. They're kid seats.
Okay.
I mean, look. We're humans, right? We're
Yes,
humans.
yes.
We have children.
Yes.
Where do we put the children?
I guess
You got to put them away from. If you want to have like your friend come in the car, you don't want them to have to sit next to your kids.
I see.
So put them in the back.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, you're gonna have to pick up your dumb kids' friends. No, kids are wonderful, lovely people. It's just their friends that are they're always sticky. It's like
They are always sticky.
So put them in the back.
Okay.
Your kid can sit in the front or sit in the back with his sticky friend.
That's why the Cybertruck is better. Put them in the back, put down the thing.
The tonneau cover, that's way more illegal, but at least no one will be able to see it.
Is it illegal? I always
with
used
the
to ride
tonneau cover.
I always used to ride in the back of a pickup truck.
It is illegal, maybe not in all states, but what about with the tonneau cover?
I think you're good.
That's a question. That is a question. And we're going to have an answer because someone is going to do it. Don't do it because Zach told you to.
No.
Don't.
I didn't tell you
We
to.
didn't tell you to do that. Don't try that at home. Bad idea.
Yes.
So if you wanted to buy a Lucid Air, you're out of luck. They are sold out.
What? How can they be sold out?
Okay, they sold out of the Dream Edition.
All right, but how many is that?
That is 500.
That's nothing. They've only have 500 Dream Edition?
Well, so it's the first version of their car. This is the 500-mile range, 1,000 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.5 second version, which costs $169,000.
Okay, so who are the lucky owners?
What do you mean?
Well, has anyone gotten any pictures of their cars yet?
Well, no, they haven't been delivered yet. I mean, that's happening in Q2, so it should be any day now. So at least it's not, 3 years away like all these other car companies. Oddly enough, the Grand Touring version, the $139,000 version, is also coming out in Q2. Oh. So maybe if you still wanted a Lucid, you could sign up for that one.
I'm keen to see if Lucid will increase production and get to the sub $80,000 Air, but they're just starting out. It's kind of like their first Tesla Roadster, 13 years later.
Right. But I mean, at least the specs are up to date. It's in the Model S range in terms of range and also 0 to 60 time kind of speed. It's like a different version of a Model S, which, I mean, to be fair, there's only been the Model S for the longest time. And there's been different versions, but it's always been a Tesla.
And I am still a fan of these executive rear seats.
Ooh, yes.
They look so...
They're not coming yet. Apparently, that's a feature that's coming later. So there's a lot of later with Lucid, but the deliveries are like imminent. Please, if you're going to be an owner of a Lucid, please take some pictures and send them to us because I don't think anyone else is going to, because they're going to be way too hoity-toity taking pictures in front of it.
All right, in this next story about an electric scooter, I think we should start with the price, because that's the most exciting part about this story.
Okay.
$350 for an electric scooter.
Yeah, I mean,
don't say yeah. Don't say yeah.
Like, I bought a scooter. It was probably like $400 for a
no.
scooter.
I mean a Vespa style scooter.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, this is the A30C Ninebot Segway scooter. It's currently only for sale in China, but it should be following up in the US and the EU in a few months. It's got a 48 volt, 12 amp hour, 576 watt hour lithium ion battery, so not a big battery. It only gets a range of 40 kilometers or 25 miles, but that's pretty good for a city. Top speed of only 25 kilometers an hour or 15 and a half miles an hour. And that's because in China, that's the top speed for an electric bike. And if you look closely, see those pedals? This is an electric bike.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Okay.
So it's in the form factor of a moped, like Vespa style. It's got full suspension, but it's basically an electric bike still. It has regenerative braking.
Okay.
It has an NFC card for keyless ignition and a password protection for sharing it with friends and family. So I'm actually pretty excited about this because this form factor is a very nice, comfy, very popular in the EU form factor for getting around small cities.
Right, because I mean, there's nothing wrong with bikes.
Nothing wrong at all.
But there are a lot of people in the world where there is something wrong with bikes. And they go, I'm not going to ride a bike.
Well,
I'm not a cyclist.
I think I can narrow it down to one thing. The seat. For the longest time, seats have been this if you're into bikes, you love them. But if you're not into bikes, they're like, what am I sitting on?
I've seen pants for biking, and they have
a pad.
Pads.
Yeah.
Because the seats are so horrible.
And it leads me back to the question, shouldn't form follow function? Is it because of weight? You just couldn't put a big bulky seat?
I'll tell you why. It's all Lance Armstrong's fault.
Lance Armstrong.
The Tour de France. It's all about,
it looks cool and light. And
there are lots of places in the world where they are not cyclists, where they do not put on the spandex to go biking, and they don't, they're not have the helmets that slip back. They're just regular people on bikes.
And that's what this is. The nice thing is, like, look, it has got a little jumper seat for your kid. Like, you go pick up your kid at school.
It's very cute.
It's really cute.
Here's the thing that I think we're about to see. We're about to see an explosion of people biking because we've been cooped up inside for the longest time. We know that the demand for e-bikes is huge. And once people get on their e-bikes, a crazy thing happens because we've bought bikes before. And we buy the bike and we go, great, now we have bikes. Let's go biking. We go biking and we go, that was awful. I hated that. At a certain point, we wanted to turn around, and then we had to come all the way home. We hated it. With an e-bike, I've gone for like a 10-mile bike ride. What?
Feels like nothing.
It feels like nothing. And I'm still getting exercise. I still feel sore afterwards because I worked out, but it's over a much longer distance.
Yep.
I was able to go further. Here's the problem. I don't have anywhere to go because everywhere I go is super dangerous for bikes.
Right.
Here's the change that's going to happen, people. It's going to change the world. We're going to start to see more bike infrastructure because people will demand it.
Yep. And autonomous cars are going to make it so that you can share the road safely.
And I want you to also be pushing for it. I want you to be saying we should have separated bike lanes and we should have, beautiful bike lanes that run along the river and stuff like that.
Right. Because unless you live in a dictatorship, the government works for you.
Yes.
Speaking of electric bikes, we just covered the Macwheel LNE-16 e-bike. Now, you know that we love e-mobility devices on Now You Know. Do you know that we have a whole channel called Now Let's Review dedicated to reviewing all sorts of e-scooters and e-bikes? Our team member Ethan has just finished reviewing the Macwheel e-bike, and you can see his whole review on Now Let's Review. And I got a chance to check it out myself, and it's a cool little bike. It's a good urban commuting bike, especially for the price. It's $500. It's small, so it can fit into your trunk of your car. You can bring it on a bus easily. So go check out the review now. We've got tons of in-depth reviews. So if you're like thinking about getting an e-bike, but you're like, so many choices, don't know what to do, we've reviewed dozens of them. So go check it out. All right, Eli is here again for us with the Starman Report.
Welcome back to the Starman Report. I'm your host, Eli Burton, and I have some exciting news for you in the world of space. SpaceX launched another Falcon 9, delivering another 60 satellites into orbit. And per usual, they also nailed the booster's landing. This puts the total count to more than 1,300 satellites in orbit. Out in Boca Chica, SpaceX also conducted a static fire of SN-11, and it's possible that a test flight could take place as soon as this week. Do you recognize this image? Back in 2019, humanity captured its first image of a black hole. And yes, it was a bit blurry, but it was the first visual proof that confirms Einstein's theory about black holes is in fact correct. Well, this week, astronomers released a polarized image of a black hole, which gives researchers a whole new insight to how black holes are magnetized. Now, what really blows my mind about all this imagery as we get more and more details about these black holes is that they look exactly like the CGI representations in the movie Interstellar. All right, let's get a quick update from our favorite Mars rover, Perseverance. So NASA has done something really special. The Mars helicopter that is preparing for its first test flight is carrying a piece of the Wright brothers plane Kitty Hawk. That's the plane that completed the first flight in human history.
Here you see engineers installing that small piece of fabric. The Wright brothers were auctioning pieces of this to raise money for their future efforts.
And I gotta say, this is really a cool way to celebrate our first flight on another planet. Thank you so much for watching this segment of the Starman Report, and I look forward to having you back for more of the most exciting news in space.
Man, Eli looks pretty fly in that Starman suit.
Oh, do you want a Starman suit? Because
Yes.
you can get one at starmangifts.com. They have them for kids and for big kids, which, I mean, adults.
Do they now?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be... You can continue. I'm just going to be over here.
All right, it's time for Going Green, brought to you by EcoWare. Are you going to help me with this?
Yeah,
Are you gonna-
sure. Sorry. Okay. Yes.
Now, one thing I want to mention is last week we talked about Randy's mugs. We've got a new batch and he's got a new design, except we had a little snafu on the EcoWare site, so some people couldn't get them. We fixed the snafu. Go check them out. They're really awesome. Also plug this week for our new bikinis. These are made of recycled polyester.
So, I mean, beach season's coming up, people. You're going to want to look your best.
I mean, you can maybe get a plaid bikini, but can you get a plaid plus bikini?
And everything you buy on EcoWare is completely carbon offset from the manufacturing, the shipping, and the life cycle. And we plant a tree for every order. And we help to cap a well, which is currently, right now, as we speak, spewing methane out into the air. We're working with the Well Done Foundation to help cap those wells and prevent that methane, which is a greenhouse gas, from leaking into the atmosphere.
All right, so Con Edison, which is one of the biggest and oldest energy companies in the U.S., has announced that it is partnering with Lion Electric and Posi Plus to make an electric bucket truck.
Lion Electric will make the powertrain, and Posi Plus will build the bucket and lift equipment. This Class A truck will have a range of 130 miles.
Now, this fully electric truck will be the first of its kind and feature a bucket that can lift a worker up to 60 feet. Con Edison will first conduct a pilot program before adding more bucket trucks to its fleet, which today has over 300 bucket trucks.
Starting last year, Con Edison had already bought either all-electric or hybrid light-duty vehicles for its fleet as a part of its goal of supplying 100% clean energy by 2040.
Con Edison is expecting to take delivery of these bucket trucks by early 2022.
Cool. I want one.
Okay, let's get you one. All right, it's time for Into the Future. Ready to learn about Swedish X?
Is this some kind of Swedish meatball channel thing?
No, this is the Swedish electric boat company inspired by Tesla. They unveiled the Swedish-made Elex 8000, which was an electric boat they made back in 2019, but now they've announced the Elex 8000 is coming to America. This 2,600-kilogram, 5,700-pound boat is 8 meters, or 26 feet long, has a 225 kilowatt or 30 horsepower motor, and can reach top speeds of 35 knots.
It has a 120 kilowatt hour battery pack, which can standard charge in 6 hours or quick charge in 1 hour.
And it features a 24-inch Garmin waterproof touchscreen, and it pairs with the Garmin watch. So if I were to throw you overboard, the boat stops.
But what if you take the watch and you throw that overboard?
Oh, then I guess the boat still stops.
Where's my watch? Where's my watch? I can't drive without my watch.
It also has Active Captain, which is an autopilot system, has smart sensors, and a steering wheel with all the common functions right there on the wheel.
Okay. How much is it?
It's $329,000. It's not cheap, but I mean, boats are expensive. They expect to sell about 20 to 30 boats in Q3, which will be exported from Sweden. But then in 2022, they plan to assemble the boats here in the U.S.
So, not cheap, but cool that we have electric boats.
Yeah, I mean, boats are not cheap.
Not a lot of solar on this thing.
You could put solar on the thing.
And I want it to be a sailboat.
Well, then you want a different boat.
Well, yeah.
A sailboat doesn't need to have all this cool stuff.
I know. But I mean, when you did your cool video with sunlight conversions, I didn't realize that you could use the sail to like regen brake and charge. You can charge up using wind power or solar power on the ocean.
Really cool.
It's like with this thing, I feel like I'm kind of stuck. I want to be able to go anywhere. I want to be able to do anything. Okay. You know?
All right, it's time for sunspots. All right, so what do you do if you're a country with a lot of people but not very much land?
You raise up an army and you attack your neighbor. Historically, that's what you do.
Okay, sorry, you're right. Or you could install floating solar farms. So Singapore, the third most densely populated country in the world, with over 8,000 people per square kilometer. And to give you some perspective on how dense that is, New York City has a population density of 38,000 people per square kilometer. So Singapore, pretty dense place, not a lot of land. They have constructed one of the world's first floating solar farms on salt water. Because most floating solar farms are constructed inland on lakes.
Because salt water is badder for metal.
And also waves are badder, too.
That's true.
This 5-megawatt solar farm is built by Sunseap and has over 13,000 solar panels, 40 inverters, and produces over 6 gigawatt hours of electricity per year.
And, I mean, Singapore is also the country that's going to be running an undersea cable to get its solar power from Australia.
Yeah.
So they really need more.
They need more juice.
Land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least this is a problem that the United States will not run into.
Hopefully.
We got plenty of land.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen the square.
Oh, yeah. We got
the blue square that Elon always points to.
Right.
It fits.
If you'd like to get some solar panels on your roof, but you have a lot of questions, talk to our friends at Energy Pal, where they have the answers, and it doesn't cost you anything to get those answers. All right, it's time for this week's video contributor story. Who do we got this week?
We've got Joseph's new Tesla feature.
What?
Hello everybody, today we're going to be discussing a new feature available in the latest Tesla software update, the teleportation feature. Now, if you haven't noticed this feature yet, it's probably because you need 2 Teslas and they need to be linked together. Once they are, the feature is really easy to use. Simply open up your frunk, put in whatever you need to teleport. Thank you, Sherry. Open up the app, let it do its thing, There you go. Hey, Sadie.
Magic Tesla Frunk.
What if that actually worked? I just want to, like, what if Tesla rolled that out next time? Like, Elon got into the frunk of a Tesla and was like, hang on, everybody.
It's got a teleporter in it. That would be a big option.
It would.
Is that an over-the-air update?
There'd be fun about it for sure.
Tesla invents crappy. Who needs this feature?
All right, it's time for our Patreon bonus stories. If you want to head over to Patreon and support us for as little as $1 a month, you can see all of our Patreon bonus stories, which are going to happen right now. We're back from the Patreon bonus stories. That was a lot of fun. It's time for our shout outs. Who do we got this week, Jess?
We've got David Barksdale,
Paolo April,
Chase Chapman,
Stacy Shepard,
Bart M.,
Martin Otterback,
Lynn McMillan,
Michael Medici,
Jesus Martinez,
Sell My Stuff Now,
Sway,
Robin Olofsson,
Dale Messer,
Stonks,
Nick Bonner,
Rebecca Rupp,
Thaddeus Walker,
Charlie Lee,
Sean Cannon.
and Mac Diver.
Thank you so much for supporting this channel. We cannot do it without you.
And we can't do it without the Elon's tweets of the week. Chris said, while we've heard little about it of late, given SpaceX is busy testing the vehicles that will facilitate it, I'm pretty sure Mars Base Alpha's construction start time isn't 2054.
Elon said, hopefully will happen this decade.
And then he went on to say SpaceX will be landing starships on Mars well before 2030. The really hard threshold is making Mars Base Alpha self-sustaining. Well, get ready then.
I know. How exciting that we don't...
We barely have time to get ready.
It's
What do I pack?
always been 30 years away.
Then Ars Technica posted this link to their story about Europe starting to freak out about the launch dominance of SpaceX.
Elon said they're aiming too low. Only rockets that are fully and rapidly reusable will be competitive. Everything else will just seem like a cloth biplane in the age of jets. And he's so right. I mean, SpaceX is moving so fast. They're going to have the Starship, and are any of these other rocket companies going to have anything even remotely close to Starship?
I know.
They need to be aiming much higher.
Elon tweeted out strongest argument against aliens. And I mean, this has been his argument for the longest time. It's like, if there are aliens, we'd have better and better resolution pictures of them.
That's what the aliens want you to think.
Oh, now I get it. And then Thomas tweeted out, thank you, Tesla, for this helpful and cool feature. Yeah, you can't get into a car if it's too close to some other car, unless it's a Tesla, which you can summon out of the space. Then Bindu said, YouTube is much better teacher than any course or book when it comes to machine learning and data science. Popular videos that have beautiful visuals help your brain absorb faster than sleep-inducing books. Channels that explain key AI research papers are cherry on top.
Elon said you can basically learn anything on YouTube and Reddit.
And then he went on to say, oh, and books, haha.
And I mean, you kind of think that, like, if Good Will Hunting came out today, maybe he'd be like, you don't even need a library card.
How do you like them apples?
How do you like them apples?
Then Eva tweeted out this article from Tasmanian talking about FUD from a German news outlet on the Gigafactory in Berlin. And we talk about that on Patreon bonus stories, so go check that out. And Elon said,
wow, shame on ZDF info.
Elon tweeted out Mars rover looking back.
So that's a picture sent from a robot on another planet.
No big deal. And then Elon again is having to refute this idea that his family grew up with an emerald mine. He said, this article is false. I arrived by myself in Canada in 1989 with about $2,500 Canadian, paid my own way through college, ending with $100,000 in student debt, started my first company with no funding and just one computer I built. There's no evidence whatsoever of emerald mine. My father and his extended family have been dependent on financial support from my brother and me for over 20 years. This article is actually accurate. If you want a good read into some insights on Elon, I do recommend this article. Link in the show notes.
And then Elon responded to a Clean Technica article on solar prices. He said, solar has come a long way. Now just needs lots of long life batteries.
And SpaceX Master Ray said, super heavy doing the flip maneuver.
Elon said, heavy comes in more like a javelin, similar to Falcon 9, but caught by the tower versus landing on legs. Essentially, it sounds like the Starship Heavy first stage booster is not going to do a belly flop. It's just going to do a pencil dive, followed by a deceleration, followed by a being caught by a tower.
I can't wait to see that. And speaking of which, Elon said, standing down SN11 until probably Monday, which would be today. Additional checkouts are needed, doing our best to land and fully recover. Can't wait to see that. And then Tim Urban tweeted out this video, which is really cool. You should check it out. And Elon agreed. He said, great video. Clean Technica tweeted out this article. Buffett plans to fix Texas energy grid, includes 10 new peaker plants owned by Buffett.
Elon said, this is crazy. Should use Tesla Megapacks for load leveling the grid. More effective, more reliable, and costs less.
And then Will Summerlin from ARK Invest said, how much would it cost to train a neural network the size of a human brain? GPT-3 has 175 billion parameters and it costs 4.6 million to train. The human brain has at least 100 trillion synapses. Assuming linear scaling of compute requirements, the cost to train a human brain in 2021 would be more like $2 billion.
Elon said it's not really possible to match the human brain in 2021 for any amount of money, in my opinion, but it will be possible probably in a few years.
Then Will went on to say, but neural network training efficiency has been doubling every 16 months. If this trend continues, the cost of training will likely decline as follows. So $5 million in 2032.
Even cheaper than the $6 million man.
That's right. Elon said, sounds about right. So I guess that show I watched when I was a kid is turning out to be true.
Just no one's going to have that haircut. And no one's going to talk like that.
And if I had invested $6 million when I was a kid, it would be worth a whole lot more today. All right, we had a Patreon poll this week, which was what?
It was about the Model S UI, and we're asking if we think that the UI that was leaked is going to be the final UI. Most people say that this is probably the new version 11, which will probably look similar in all horizontal screen Teslas, meaning maybe the Model 3 and the Model Y.
And they're usually right. All right, it's time for Community Mail Time.
Community Mail Time.
Wait a minute. How's that work?
Don't worry, the wheel isn't attached. This was just a fun picture that WD sent us. I thought that was kind of neat.
Don't try that at home. And then our friend Ken would like to suggest a model name for the upcoming Tesla Model 2. His suggestion, the Model AF, as in...
No, don't say it. That's fine.
As in affordable. What did you think I was going to say?
I see. Because then it would say sexy AF.
Exactly.
Sexy affordable.
And then Annie wrote to tell us that her Model 3 caught this on SentryCam. That's right. That's a red Ford Escape backing into her car. It damaged it and then drove away. And this was in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Annie's insurance company knew the driver of the Escape because the car turns out to be insured by the same insurance company. The police took a copy of the footage and Tesla Mobile Service brought them a new bumper last week.
And if you didn't have Tesla SentryCam, guess you
wouldn't
would
have
walk
a new
out in
bumper.
the parking lot and you'd go...
And then check this out. This is our friend Thery's Tesla Cam. It caught a rabbit, a deer, and this.
What's that?
Shooting star.
Wow.
Our patron Jitendra got his Cybertruck.
Wait, what?
Sorry, I meant he got his Hot Wheels toy Cybertruck.
Oh.
Jitendra ordered it a year ago when he heard about the sale on our show, and he was able to get it because it had sold out quickly after that.
Wow.
Our friend Audun in Norway sent us these photos he took of what might be the first VW ID4 in Norway. This is in Rogaland, Norway, and he said the owner was very pleased so far.
Cool. And then our buddy James spotted an Arcamoto down in Florida.
Oh, wow.
So
is that Orlando?
That is Orlando.
Oh, right. They're doing some kind of partnership with the city, so maybe that's why.
Oh.
All right, it's time for Supercharger reviews, and these are sponsored by our friends at Evannex, the Tesla community's accessory store. If you're looking for awesome accessories for your Tesla, check out Evannex and use our discount code NowYouKnow to save you $10 on purchases over $100.
Hi, Jesse and Zach. I'm here at the Firebug Supercharger. It's on the Interstate 5 in California. I'm on my way from San Francisco to San Diego, and this is my first stop. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. There are 56 stalls here, and as you can see, I'm the only one here, which is a little bit of a surprise. It's brand new, maybe nobody knows about it yet, but they are all 250 kilowatt chargers, so pretty fast, and before you know, I'm going to be back on the road. Also wanted to point out over there's a McDonald's, and if you call in your order from the car and you tell them your stall number, they will actually bring it to your car. So I thought that's pretty nice. Now you know.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. We're out here in Lincoln, Nebraska at an 8-stall Tesla Supercharger. Around us, we have a Denver Mattress, Starbucks down there, Hy-Vee, and then a famous is a long shot from that. I'd say I give this station around 6 out of 10. Now you know.
Hey, Zach and Jesse.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. Thanks for letting us use your supercharger code. We had 6 months.
Big time, thank you.
6 months of free supercharging. We put 21,000 miles on our car in 6 months.
December.
We bought it December 18th, and now we're paying supercharge. This is 16 stall kilowatt, 150 kilowatt chargers in Manchester off of I-84, and it has Artisanal Burger Company behind it, and a bunch of stores over there. A new Marshall's is coming in, and there's Dollar Store, Starbucks, Trader Joe's. So, just want to thank you, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, this is Eric coming to you from Mount Airy, North Carolina. 8-stall supercharger. Completely empty except the car I'm driving. Sheets is here. Car wash in the back. Huge menu of food. In my opinion, the greatest convenience store on the planet. But that being said, that's all there is. And I have to give it a 5 out of 10. Now you know.
Wow, I love Supercharger reviews. Thank you so much for making them. You can upload them to our website over at nowyouknowchannel.com/supercharger reviews.
All right, it's time for new superchargers this week. What do we got?
We have the 6-stall version 3 in Van Buren, Arkansas.
We got the 12-stall version 3 in Clovis, California.
We have the 4-stall 150 kilowatt supercharger in Tokyo, Japan.
We have the 12-stall version 3 in Emnes, Netherlands.
We have the 5-stall version 3 in Kowtown, Taiwan.
We have the 6-stall version 3 in Alta, Norway.
We have the 12-stall version 3 in Federal Way, Washington.
The 8-stall version 3 in Wutterstadt, Germany.
We have the 2-stall 150 kilowatt in Torrent, North Spain.
And then the 8-stall version 3 in Amen, Netherlands. All right, it's time for our Patreon giveaway. If you'd like to get into this big barrel of fun, just join us on Patreon, which helps support the show, by the way. And you might have a chance of winning. This week is going to be a $30 gift card for EcoWare, where you can get anything on the site. Everything there is designed with solar energy. It's completely carbon offset. You buy a tea, we plant a tree.
And the winner is Melody of 1974.
Congratulations, Melody. You got yourself a $30 gift card to EcoWare. And I'm wearing an oldie but goodie, the Dragon Crew.
And I'm wearing a fairly new one. We can't rely on dead dinosaurs forever.
Nope.
And that is true. And yeah, I mean, EcoWare, it's been such a neat thing to be working on.
I'm sorry. Last week you said you were going to play with the Cybertruck on the show. Have you gotten it working yet?
I got it out of the box.
Uh-huh.
I got batteries in it.
Uh-huh.
I am having some trouble
Excuse me?
getting it to work.
Why?
Because it doesn't do it.
Now, so there's a lithium-ion battery in here?
There is.
And so you charge it with that?
You charge it with the controller. So there's a little charge cable.
I don't know if you remember this, but it was around the time you were born. They started putting in little screws so that you couldn't take the batteries out because kids would take them out and eat them. And I'm sure that was great. I'm sure we saved.
That's why they did.
I'm sure we saved a lot of kids from going to the emergency room with batteries. So I'm happy. But it does mean that every time you get a new toy, someone has to go find a small screwdriver.
Right. Now the light's on. Maybe someone knows how to do this.
Did you read the instructions?
I did.
No, you didn't.
I do.
No, you didn't.
Wait, where are they?
They're over there.
Why don't you thank the patrons while I unfold this?
I will thank the patrons, because if it weren't for the patrons, well, I don't know. Would we have a Cybertruck? No, we wouldn't, because Dave's one of our patrons, and he wouldn't have sent us a Cybertruck.
Look at this.
But he's probably... You didn't read them.
I did.
You don't even know what side is up.
I did read them. The real Cybertruck doesn't even have as many instructions as this. Look at this.
That's just one side. Look at the other side.
I know.
The font size on that is like font size 2.
I'm trying to figure it out. We're next week. I promise next week we will have new batteries in the controller. I think that's the problem. That may not be the problem. Something's the problem. We're gonna figure it out.
I want to play with the Cybertruck.
I do too. Next week. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. We'll see you next week. Now you know.